What's going on, guys? It's Carter, and today we are analyzing a brand new video just uploaded by Stephan about a week ago titled The 5 Best Credit Cards for Millennials. So, I'm a financial advisor by trade. I've been doing that for about 3 or 4 years. And being a younger financial advisor, I tend to work a lot with individuals who tend to skew a little bit younger. So those who are in their 20s and maybe early 30s and just starting to accumulate wealth. And so I actually end up getting a lot of questions about what are the best credit cards for you to get when you're trying to build credit for the first time and really maximize your rewards and get that cash back, which seems to be important to most people. So when Graham uploaded this video, first thing that came to my mind is I've been wanting to make a credit card video for so long. Why don't I just watch his video and then react to it? And then in return, I have a few credit cards here. I don't want to exactly give away the actual info on them, but I have a few credit cards here that I personally use, and I'll run you through each of these and explain kind of why I use these and what I use them specifically for, because in my opinion, these are some of the 4 best credit cards that you can get when you're still trying to build your credit and generate some wealth, and really you value that cash back. So we'll dive right on in, watching the brand new video by Stephan, the 5 best credit cards for millennials. Let's do it.
What's up, you guys? It's Graham here. So today we're going to be combining my 2 favorite topics in the entire planet. That would be millennials and credit cards. Now, some might say that's a little like combining oil and water, or for people who can't properly handle their finances, it's like pouring a whole bunch of gasoline on a raging fire. But see, I disagree, because assuming you have even a mild amount of self-control and don't treat credit cards like they're access to unlimited money, and you only spend what you have available to pay off in full, using credit cards could really be one of the greatest tools to building your wealth, increasing your credit score, and in the process, getting a lot of free stuff. So for that, we have the perfect video. We're going to be going over the 5 best credit cards for millennials that will not only give you sign-up bonuses, cash back, free travel, and a whole bunch of other perks that are perfect for people in their 20s and early 30s, but also chances are these are credit cards you're going to want to keep in your wallet for a really, really long time.
One thing I will say here is he just covered the fact that millennials value travel and cash back, and I would say that that's pretty accurate from what I've seen. I travel all the time, and so having credit cards that allow you to get a lot of cash back and redeem them for travel is something that's very, very important for someone like me and someone in my shoes. However, Graham also just mentioned a very good point, and that is that these credit cards are meant to be in your wallet for a long time. When you're really starting to build credit and really try to increase your credit score, a lot of times the only way to really get that initial bit of credit is to open up a credit card that's not really in your best interest, and that will just pretty much act as a debit card, but it's classified as a credit card. And most of the time you'll even have to put money down as a collateral. That way they never go negative on you spending over your balance. So I think this is very important, because if you are able to get any of these credit cards, it's not one of those credit cards that you're just going to open and want to immediately close once you can apply for something else. These credit cards will continue to earn you money and cash back well into the future. And so they're not just good for somebody that's starting out, they're good long term, which I think is very, very important when you're looking at getting your first, second, or even third credit card.
Now first, we're going to begin this one off with a classic, and this is a must-have for any aspiring credit card enthusiast, which is why I'm mentioning it here first, and that would be the Discover It Cashback credit card. Now partially the reason why this is such a good card is because it is perfect for people who are newer to the whole credit card game and want to build their credit score while still wanting to get rewarded at the same time.
Boom. I would totally agree with this. First things first, I have the exact credit card that he is showing on the screen right now. I got it in blue. You can choose a bunch of different colors, but the Discover It Cashback credit card is, in my opinion, the very first credit card that almost any person that's looking to build credit should get. The main reasoning behind that is something that he's going to get into in a minute, but it's the fact that they double your cash back at the end of the first year, which means effectively you can be getting 10% cash back on many, many different things that you're normally buying in year one. And how many credit cards out there are giving you 10% cash back? None of them, which was what makes this an amazing, amazing starter credit card.
And this card easily checks off all of those boxes. First, it's a really simple card to apply for and get approved. And this is why it is so good for millennials. First, there's a $0 annual fee, which if you watch my videos is exactly the card you want to start with because it costs you nothing to keep open. Now this is really important because when building your credit, the longer you keep your cards open for, the more credit history you will have. And the more credit history you have, the higher your credit score will be.
So I kind of want to break down this little pie chart because this is very important. This is something that I think a lot of people that are really starting to get into building their credit score don't realize is that your credit score is made up of an entire pie chart of different things. You can see here, Graham is actually pointing out that your length of credit history is 30% of your credit score. So it has a huge weight in going into your overall credit score. So having a credit card open for a long time is really good. But I also want to cover a few other parts of this chart real quick here. You can see that there's a couple other ones, especially types of credit used. For that, we're talking auto loans, we're talking mortgages, we're talking how many credit card lines you have open. So your total lines of credit go into that 15% piece of the pie. New credit applied for recently is 10%. Now, you want this number to be low. They want to see you're not applying for a ton of credit because they don't want you to be overextended and not be able to repay your loan. So having very low amounts of credit inquiries on your statement or on your credit score will allow you to get the full 10% on that. Like the credit history, as always, we discussed 30%. And then amounts owed, that's the total amount of credit that you've been using and spending. So for this, it helps to really put everything on a credit card. That's my first recommendation, is that as soon as you possibly can, get a credit card and start putting stuff on the credit card. Now, don't go out and spend it like it's free money because you have to pay that back. And if you don't, you're gonna be paying an obscene amount of interest. However, what I will say is you definitely wanna be spending on your credit card, just try to treat it like a debit card, even though it is a credit card. So don't spend more than you can possibly pay back. And then know exactly how much you're spending each month and make sure you're paying off that balance every single month and never carrying a balance. That way you don't pay any interest on it. Lastly, on this pie, you're going to be looking at payment history. And that is just how many on-time payments do you have? So over the course of 5 years, if you have 100% on-time payments and you miss one, you're still going to have a 98% payment rate. And that's going to be very good. Your credit score is not going to pretty much take any hits even if you miss a payment. So keep that in mind. Make as many payments as you can on time. And then the more credit lines you have open and the more payments you make, that kind of adds on to it as well. So if you go a year and you've got one credit card, you've made 12 on-time payments, you miss one, that's 1 out of 12 that you've missed. You open 3 credit cards and it goes over the course of a year. You now have 36 on-time payments. You miss one on one of your credit cards, and now you've missed 1 out of 36. So that's why it's better to open as many lines of credit as you possibly can, even though at the beginning you probably won't be able to because you're going to be getting just maybe the Discover cash back, and then you have to build up your credit score to get more loans approved.
Besides that, a big reason why this is perfect for millennials is that they offer you a 5% cashback reward on revolving categories throughout the year. Which means for every $100 you spend, they're going to be giving you back $5, which is enough to buy half an avocado toast. Right now, this 5% cashback revolving category is applicable for Amazon.com, Target, and Walmart.com, which is perfect for holiday shopping or buying random stuff you probably shouldn't be buying. Then, in the beginning of 2020, you're going to start getting 5% cashback on grocery stores, Walgreens, and CVS, and then after that, gas stations, Uber, Lyft, and so on. And if that isn't amazing enough, for the first 12 months, they will match your cash back dollar for dollar with no minimums. That's right, that's like you're getting 10% cash back on the revolving categories in the first year. Come on, getting a 10% discount on those revolving categories is pretty awesome. Then, in addition to that, you're also going to be getting unlimited 1% cash back on every other purchase with the card, which, like I said, they will match for the first year. So it's more like you're getting unlimited 2% cash back for the first year, which means that you will get 2% cash back on that disgusting White Claw stuff that all the millennials seem to be drinking.
So as you can see, the Discover It card is an amazing first credit card. You get the 5% rotating cash back in multiple categories, and then they double it at the end of the first year. It's really hard to find credit cards that give you 2% cash back on anything and everything that you spend on. And even though it's valid for only the first year to get the 2% cash back on everything, it's still an amazing deal. And what's really nice about this credit card is the fact that even if you're using multiple credit cards, you're gonna be getting 5% cash back on random categories. So if it's 5% cash back on gas, I'm using this as my gas card for the entire quarter until that 5% goes away. So it's a great tool to use along with other credit cards that you have.
Next, we're going to be stepping it up just a little bit, the Capital One Saver Card. Now, this is a really good next up card to the Discover It because Capital One tends to be very beginner friendly in terms of their requirements for applying. They're usually pretty lenient about who gets approved, you don't need a lot of prior credit history, and you don't need a perfect credit score. Now, what makes this card pretty appealing is that first, they'll give you a $300 bonus when you spend $3,000 on the card in the first 3 months. And before anyone goes and roasts me in the comments and gets really angry and says,
"But Graham, that's a scam. You have to spend $3,000 just to get $300 back. That means you're losing $2,700. Dislike? Unsaid."
Well, common sense would say that you should only spend money that you were planning to spend anyway. That way, instead of spending $3,000 and not getting anything, you're spending $3,000 and getting $300 back for pretty much no extra work whatsoever. So I recommend, in order to hit that minimum spend, that you just put everything you possibly can on the credit card. Groceries, car insurance, gym memberships, Christmas gifts, anything you could possibly think of goes on the credit card. And then enjoy that free $300 to spend on whatever millennial stuff you want. But anyway, in addition to the sign-up bonus, you're also going to be getting unlimited 4% cash back on dining and entertainment, 2% cash back at grocery stores, and 1% cash back on everything else, plus no foreign transaction fees. Now, to be honest, for me, the 4% cash back on dining is really the main appeal of this credit card, plus the $300 sign-up bonus. Because unfortunately, the downside to this is that there is a $95 annual fee after the first year, which means you'll need to make sure you actually spend enough money on dining to make that annual fee worth it.
Okay, one thing I have to say about this, just to start, is it is a $95 annual fee, and for somebody that's really starting out and is your typical millennial, they're probably not going to want to be spending $100 a year. Even if they are getting a lot of benefit from the credit card, there's just so many other options out there where you don't have to pay an annual fee. So the $300 sign-up bonus is really kind of nice, but you do have to spend $3,000. So maybe if you have a really, really large purchase coming up and you're buying like 2 MacBooks for your family members for Christmas, then I would recommend getting this card. But if you're not going to be hitting that $3,000 sign-up minimum to get that $300 sign-up bonus, then I would personally pass on this one.
The third, we have another personal favorite of mine because I spend way too much money on here, as I'm sure you do too, and most millennials, and that would be Amazon. And with that, their amazing credit card, the Amazon Prime card.
Oh, okay.
And with this, I don't even know where to begin because for someone who does a lot of their shopping on Amazon, this is just a really, really good card to have, and it makes a lot of sense, especially for millennials. First, just for signing up, they will give you a $100 Amazon gift card. That's basically a free $100 that you could spend on this Nicolas Cage pillowcase or this avocado toast t-shirt or this book about how to move out of your parents' house. Now, speaking of shopping on Amazon, when you use this credit card, you're going to be getting 5% off your Amazon purchases. That's like an immediate 5% savings, unlimited for any purchases on Amazon. So if you do a lot of Amazon shopping, it's a no-brainer. So I have to say, overall, this is a no-brainer card to get if you have Amazon Prime, do shopping on Amazon, want 5% cash back on those purchases, and want a $100 gift card. It makes sense.
So I agree with everything that Graham just said. If you are an Amazon Prime customer, so you pay the student rate or the full Amazon Prime rate, you can get this credit card and there's a good chance that you'll get approved for it. It's not super hard to get, and the $100 immediate sign-up bonus is valid for anything on Amazon's website. So I used it immediately. If you're a frequent Amazon shopper like me, that 5% cash back will save you a ton of money over the long run. So this is like a permanent 5% cash back if you go to Whole Foods or if you go to Amazon.com all the time. And just basically great for anybody that really uses Amazon a lot.
One of my all-time favorite credit cards, and this is the first grown-up credit card I ever got that really got me started on my journey of collecting credit cards, getting points, and traveling everywhere for free, and that would be the American Express Gold Card. This one has so many amazing perks and benefits and bonuses, and I don't even know where to begin, so I'm just going to start listing things off. Now, to start, there's a bonus out there somewhere. You have to find it and look for it. But if you find it, it's going to give you 50,000 points when you spend $2,000 on the card in the first 3 months. Now, if I can actually find this offer and if it still works, I will link to it down below in the description with instructions on what to do. But if you get the offer, here's how good it is. On the surface, 50,000 points is equivalent to about $500 worth of value depending on how you redeem it. But you could usually squeeze out a lot more value from those points if you transfer them to an airline partner known as Aeroplan. plan, and then use those points to redeem for free airfare. In addition to that, you're also going to be getting a $120 per year dining credit that could be used towards Grubhub, Seamless, the Cheesecake Factory, Ruth Chris Steakhouse, Boxed, and participating Shake Shack locations. You're also going to be getting a $100 airline credit every year, which means that you could select the airline that you're going to be getting a free flight from through Aeroplan, and then enjoy $100 off your in-flight meals, checked bags, or any other incidentals you're charged along your travels. And you're also going to be getting 4 times points when you spend your money on dining, supermarkets, and 3 times points when you spend your money on travel. Now, the downside, unfortunately, is that this credit card comes with a $250 annual fee. But from my experience, the annual fee pays for itself so many times over if you utilize this card towards travel and you take advantage of everything the card has to offer. So from my perspective, the annual fee and this credit card is entirely worth it.
All right, so my thoughts on the American Express card. It seems like there's a lot of really good things, but it's mostly geared towards travel. So if you fly a lot, then you probably get a lot of good benefits from this card. But for $250 a year annual fee, it's going to be tough for somebody that's really just getting started and maybe doesn't have a full-time salaried job and doesn't have a ton of income. It's going to be hard for them to meet the spending goals on that credit card to justify getting spending $250 a year on credit card fees.
And finally, number 5, we have the credit card that, in my opinion, made credit cards cool again for millennials, and that would be the almighty Chase Sapphire Reserve. Now, this is not a credit card I would recommend applying for if you're just starting out, don't already have a few credit cards, or don't really do any traveling. But if you already have a decent credit score and like to go places, then I have a feeling this is the perfect credit card for you, and here's why. To start, you're going to be getting a 50,000 point sign-up bonus when you spend $4,000 in the first 3 months. Now, yeah, that might be a lot of money depending on how much you typically spend, but as long as you could find some creative ways to spend $4,000, you should be able to reach the $4,000 without an issue. And if you know you cannot do that, then don't apply. Now, in terms of how much those 50,000 points are worth, when you redeem it for travel on Chase's portal, it has a value of $750, which is pretty good just for signing up for a credit card and meeting the minimum spend. In addition to that, you're also going to be getting a $300 annual travel credit, which to me is a huge advantage of getting the card. In addition to that, you'll also get 3 times points on travel and dining and 1 point per dollar spent on everything else. Now, unfortunately, just like the American Express Gold Card, there is an annual fee with this, and that is $450 a year.
Hold up. $450 per year. For some reason, I just do not see a lot of millennials paying $450 per year in credit card fees just to have a credit card that gives you decent rewards. I mean, it's got some pretty great stuff, but at $450? That's a lot of commitment just to keep a credit card open.
So if you do any sort of travel whatsoever, it's worth it, and it's easy to see why this card is so popular for Chase and with millennials. And then finally, I just want to throw in 2 honorary mentions. These are cards that are really good and I wanted to mention, but I felt like they weren't good enough for millennials to have their own dedicated spot. So I'm just going to list these out really quick, and the first one is the Uber credit card. With this, you get a $100 Uber bonus after spending $500 in the first 3 months, plus you get 5% cash back on Uber services, 3% cash back on hotels, airfare, and restaurants, and then 1% cash back on everything else. Plus, what I find pretty unique with this card is that you'll get up to $600 of cell phone protection if your phone is damaged or stolen when you pay your phone bill with the Uber card. Because as I'm sure you're aware, millennials love to drop their phones all the time and damage them and crack them, so at least you get some protection with this, all for a $0 annual fee. So overall, this card isn't bad per se, and honestly, it's pretty decent. But it's mostly ideal for people who use Uber a lot, so if that's not you, then I wouldn't really recommend it, but if it is you, then yeah, it's pretty good.
I still think it's an amazing credit card, especially since it's made by Uber. They're always in touch with the millennials, and so I think that this credit card is going to consistently adapt to whatever the millennials value the most. So you can see with this, it's 5% cash back on Uber, Jump, anything that has to do with the Uber transportation system, you get 5% cash back. But so there is a sign-up bonus as well, and you get 1% cash back on everything else, as well as the 3% cash back on restaurants. But I really like it. I think the fact that they always add in a few extra things for millennials and for their target consumer base, I think it makes it one of the top contenders for your primary credit card. And I think that even with the $600 phone insurance, like that's something that they saw as a need, and they added it. They saw that a bunch of millennials drop their phones and they break them, and then they need to get a new one. So they said, how do we help them benefit from that? And so they said, you pay your phone bill with it, with this credit card, then we will cover your phone insurance when it breaks inevitably. So I think that Uber just knows what they're doing and knows what their target base is, and so this will constantly be updated. But I just really like this. I think it's a great credit card. I think it deserves a higher spot than honorable mention, just because there's zero fee for this. You literally open up the Uber app, you hit apply for a credit card, and it tells you within like 30 seconds whether or not you got the credit card, and they ship it to your front door. So could not be easier.
And then lastly, we have the Citi Double Cash Rewards Card. This is a really great credit card for people who just want to keep it simple and get a solid cashback credit card without any complications, without any annual fees, and without any foreign transaction fees, and without thinking to yourself, wait a second, what revolving category am I in this month? Basically, this card is just really good at giving you 2% unlimited cash back on everything, and I think there's something to be said about the simplicity in that. It's a really good card overall, and if you don't have it, then I would recommend it. But there are better cards out there for specific categories that also give you a sign-up bonus. And there you have it, my 5 now turned into 7 best cards for millennials that I would highly recommend you look into. These cards will all give you impressive cash back, free travel, sign-up bonuses, and so many other perks just for putting your normal everyday avocado toast purchases on the credit card.
But that about does it. I think Graham did a great job with this video. I think that he highlighted a lot of really good credit cards. I think he got a little bit off base by kind of talking about the more upper echelon of credit cards where you're paying upwards of $500 a year in credit card fees. For millennial, I feel like most people do not want to be paying an annual fee. It's just another added expense to worry about, and then you have to worry about spending a certain amount on that credit card to hit your goals and get those cash back bonuses, and then make it so it's actually a good investment for you to get these credit cards. So personally, I prefer credit cards that have $0 annual fee. So there's plenty of options out there. Just get out and try them. Figure out which one's best for you and best for your lifestyle. Not every credit card is going to be right for every single person. If you do a lot of traveling, one credit card is going to do a lot better than if another one if you eat out a lot, or if you drive a lot and you want one that's going to be your primary gas credit card. So depending on your lifestyle, you're going to need to kind of figure out what the best credit card is, but there's plenty out there for you to really look at. So if you gain anything from this video, please consider dropping a like and hitting that subscribe button. It means a lot, helps out with the YouTube algorithm as I'm trying to build my channel and be seen a little bit more. Definitely consider subscribing if you want to see more in finance and fashion and anything that has to do with being a millennial in this day and age. Because I'm going to be pumping out a lot more videos on this channel and hopefully showing you things that are very relatable, because I mean, I'm going through them, or I've recently gone through them as well. But if you did benefit from this, please consider dropping a like. It was fun. Graham does a great job. He's one of my favorite YouTubers. Definitely go and subscribe to him if you can. He gives great advice on real estate and finance and anything in that area. And he's one of the best YouTubers to go to for personal finance. But I've had a blast. Thank you for hanging out, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.